Hello, beautiful people of the internet. My name is Ellie, and bienvenidos to my YouTube channel. So I'm coming at you with my May wrap-up. So turns out that May was a little bit of a hectic month, more hectic than I thought. The first weekend of May, I ended up traveling to Seattle for a couple days. 2 weeks after that, I had a wedding that I was part of. 2 weeks after that, went to New Orleans for my boyfriend's coworker's wedding. I had an ambitious TBR to begin with. I had 11 books that I wanted to read, and I only read 9. Out of the 9, 4 are books that were not even on my TBR because I couldn't take physical books with me. Let's go ahead and get on with the TBR. So the books that I have already read are One of Us is Lying by Karen and McManus, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, Geekerella by Ashley Poston, The Accident Season by Moira Fowley Doyle, Scythe by Neil Shusterman. All of these books I've already talked about and I've already given my rating. So after Scythe, I went ahead and picked up Stags by M.A. Bennett. And in this book, we follow our main character whose name is Greer. And she ends up transferring from her old school to this academy, which the acronym is STAGS, which stands for St. Aidan the Great School. And this is a very, very old, prestigious academy. When she transfers here, she is very different from everybody that's in this school. Almost everyone in the school is rich, they're prestigious, their parents are very, very wealthy. When Greer comes in, she ends up finding out all these weird things that are happening in the school. She realizes that the school is basically being controlled by these group of people called the medievals. They don't believe in technology. They actually hate technology. In an unspoken rule, people don't bring out phones. They don't rely on technology. And Greer ends up finding that she wants to be the same as these people. So she hides her phone. She doesn't use technology. So one day before they're supposed to be going on a break, the medievals send out invitations to specific people to meet them at basically like a lake house, which is owned by the main medieval leader, Henry. Besides Greer, 2 other people get invited, which both of them are very wealthy. The only one who's not wealthy is Greer. She is actually on a scholarship to this academy. And the other 2 are Chanel, which they call Nell, and Shafin, who is a Middle Eastern guy. While they're there, a lot of strange things start to happen, and of course the only ones around are the medievals. So there's a lot of plot twists in this book. The very last twist that happens, I was so disappointed. I thought this had a lot of potential, but it seemed like the final plot twist was such a cop-out. I did not like it. I did rate this a 3 out of 5 stars because I was entertained. I enjoyed the bare bones of the story. Like, the premise I thought was very interesting, but where it went, I didn't like. If anything, I think that the last 50, 75 pages weren't needed. I feel like before the ending plot twist, she should have just ended it. She shouldn't have kept going. Also, some other things that bugged me was that Greer, she labels herself as a feminist when she sees that Henry is flirting or giving a compliment to Chanel. She becomes very judgmental and very jealous very quickly. Honestly, I was very annoyed by the main character for most of the book until she finally comes to her senses. I didn't like how she was very hypocritical. The good things about it is that later on in the story, after some things happen, you see how the friendship between these 3 that got invited start happening and how they get so close and they form this bond and they try to help each other in the situation that they're in. I liked that aspect of it. This is a YA thriller and it's very basic. After I finished Stags, I kept on going with the YA thrillers, so I started reading Bad Girls with Perfect Faces by Lynn Weingarten. In this book, we follow Sasha and her journey to try and help her best friend, Xavier, get over his ex-girlfriend, Ivy. In the beginning of this book, we follow Sasha and how she's trying to get Xavier from being so depressed after Ivy broke up with him. So they're trying to go out and she's trying to get his spirits up and he's finally getting over this girl. So when they go out, they go to this one club that they always go to and they're having a good time. And this night, Sasha decides that she's finally going to tell Xavier that she likes him. They're in the club and she's about to tell Xavier how she feels, and then all of a sudden Ivy shows up. So Ivy comes up and of course Xavier's like still so in love with this girl, so Sasha ends up leaving and they end up getting back together. At this point, Sasha has been drinking, so she's extremely drunk. And of course, when people get drunk, people make stupid decisions. If you say that you haven't, I don't believe you. She ends up deciding to create a fake Instagram and to start messaging Ivy. The reason that Xavier and her broke up in the first place was because Ivy just didn't want to be with him and she kept cheating on him, so she just decided to break it off. The main plot of this is that Sasha makes a fake Instagram and is basically catfishing Ivy. So they start messaging back and forth, and then she starts seeing Ivy for who she really is, or so you think. The plot twists in here were really good. However, the decisions that Sasha makes throughout this book are so freaking stupid. I didn't like Sasha. I didn't like Ivy. I feel like Ivy was just mean and bitchy for the sake of being mean and bitchy, just so that you don't like Ivy. Like I said, she's such a basket case and so cynical and just so selfish. There was no character development with her, and I just didn't appreciate the fact that she was just awful for being awful, just for you to hate her. And even then, also, I don't really like Xavier either. Xavier's very fickle. Actually, I don't like any of the characters. Any of the main characters, I didn't like them. If you want to give this a shot, I would say go ahead. It's an okay book, but for me, the characters were just not there. I rated this 3 out of 5. It was just okay because, like I said, the plot twist got me because they were really good and the ending was pretty realistic for all the choices that were made, but I can't groove with the characters, man. The next book that I read is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. This book is a psychological thriller. We focus on a couple. One is Jake, and the other one is just known as a girlfriend. They're both going on a road trip to go to Jake's parents' farmhouse. She's going to meet his parents. Though while they're on this road trip, she keeps thinking that she wants to end things. She doesn't see herself staying with Jake for any more than this trip. She's basically just going back and forth on whether she wants to end it with Jake. And while they're on the road trip, the perspective changes from the present to the past. And in the past, you see how they met, and it also tells you some weird stuff that's been happening to her that all ends up culminating to when she meets his parents in the farmhouse. If you want to read this book, that is all you need to know about it. Towards the end, it was extremely confusing for me. I had to reread the ending twice. And after the second time is when I got it. And oh my God, did my mind explode. This book creeped me out so bad. There was a certain part in this book where I literally felt like there was someone behind me watching me. I did not want to turn, but I was like, you know what? I'm a big girl. I'm gonna put my big panties on. I'm not scared. Sure enough, though, I heard a creak and I almost like jumped out of my skin. I almost screamed so loud. That book, it's worth the hype that everybody says. However, the ending was so confusing. Even without the ending, there's some parts in between the book where it shifts perspectives, and that totally just like threw me off. and I just got confused. I rated it a 3.5. It's not the best psychological thriller that I've read. It was really good though. It's just the fact that because I had to reread that ending twice because I was so confused, I didn't know what happened, is what knocked off points. If you really like psychological thrillers and you haven't read that yet, I definitely recommend I'm Thinking of Ending Things. The last book that I read, this one has been making its rounds here on BookTube and it's very hyped up, and I am no exception. That is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christou. This is a Little Mermaid retelling, except she's not a mermaid, she's a siren. I listened to this on audiobook and I highly recommend the audiobook for this book because we follow the perspective of the prince, whose name is Elian, and the siren, which is Lyra. And in the audiobook, you have two different narrators. You have Lyra, you have the female as Lyra, and you have the male as Prince Elian. I love this book. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. In this book, Lyra is a siren, and sirens, they value wickedness and just the negative things. That's what they're most proud of. And also they are proud of their heart count. She is the princess, so her mother naturally is the sea queen. So ever since she was old enough to start collecting her hearts, she has been given princes. In the beginning, you see how ruthless she is, how she uses her song to captivate the princes, and basically just how she kills them. She is gonna be the next ruler. However, the Sea Queen is so malevolent and just so cruel to her daughter that she's being punished for something that she did. So instead of getting a heart of a prince, she has to get a heart of a sailor. However, Lyra finds a way around that rule and wants to go after Prince Elian, who is a siren hunter. So technically that makes him a sailor and a prince. Her mom gets very upset because Lyra is basically trying to trick her and go against her rules. So she punishes her again by making her human. And the difference between The Little Mermaid and this is that Lyra keeps her voice. She's not mute. She can talk. She just can't sing. We just follow Lyra and Elian and their journey together and their adventures. I love the fact that this is a standalone because you get the whole story in just one book. You don't have to keep waiting for more parts. However, I am able to overlook how fast this was towards the end because it was such a good book. I love the story. I love the character development in this. You get all kinds of walks of life. I would recommend doing the audiobook because it is so entertaining since you get the two narrators. 5 out of 5 for me. I think you guys will love this book too. This deserves all the hype that it gets. If you like mermaid tales or siren tales or underwater tales, read this. I really recommend this because it is so good. It is just so good. Out of my original TBR, these were the books that I did not get to read. So from my second half of my TBR, I ended up with 2 3 stars, 1 3.5 star, and 1 5 star. This month has been pretty good. I'll go ahead and put my star reviews here. Those were all the books that I read this month. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books and what you rated them or what you thought of them. Like I said last month, I'm gonna rate all my books so that way you know which ones my standouts were and which ones I would let you know to pass on. I'll go ahead and put that on the screen too so that way you guys can see my ranking of them. My standouts for this month are Scythe, To Kill a Kingdom, and Geekerella. Those 3 are like so good. I recommend them to everybody. That was my May wrap up from my May TBR. So thank you guys so much for watching, and also thank you to everybody who left a comment for my giveaway. It is closed. I closed it on Sunday, and I have chosen the winners and I have contacted all of them. So congratulations to all 5 of you winners out there. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your support, and I hope that you like the books that I'm sending you. And for all those that didn't win, don't worry, I'll be having more giveaways in the future once I hit my next goals. Thank you again for all your support. Thank you for all your love and your warm comments. I read all of them. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button, and hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when I do upload. And until I see you again, stay safe, stay happy. I hope that you guys are enjoying your day, night, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Lost my way. 쉴 새 없이 멀어지는 거친 빛바람 속에